Well, we should be live. So is the theory. And if we are, good evening, you smiley happy people. If somebody in chat could just let me know that the audio's okay and the video's okay and that we're good to go, and we'll get started. Just to bear with me. Let's just see if we actually have anybody in the room. Right, so I've actually squashed my own head. That's not very clever of me, is it? We might just need to make that window a bit smaller, because at the moment you can't see me for it. I'm sure some of you would like that, but there you go. There we go. And now I'm a bit smaller in the top corner. So, like I say, we'll just wait for a few of you to join, if some of you are going to join, and then we'll get down to business. In fact, as soon as I've got one joined, we're going to make a start, because that's just how I am. That's how I roll this evening. Live chat, all messages visible. That's good. And we're good on there. Just going to check. I've got some, yeah, I've got some audio. That's fine. So I'm definitely working. That's always good. That's always a bonus. Just fiddling with the settings just a little bit. Make sure everything's all right. So it's UK time. It's 6:44 in the evening. It's quite a nice evening. Went out for tea, walked to the local pub, and of course it rained all the way there. It's kind of what happens, isn't it? Got there, had quite a nice meal, and just walked back in the glorious sunshine with the dog. So that was lovely. And yeah, thought we'd get this done. But at the moment, live chat. Okay, that's all good. There we go. We've got our first person sat watching. So whoever it is, can you just check that the audio's okay and the video's okay, and just give me a thumbs up and let me know. Richard, hello, good evening, my friend. I've got a feeling it's your birthday tomorrow. Am I right? I'm going to wait for this reply, but I'm fairly certain it's your birthday tomorrow, young man. Have you left? Come on, tell me it's your birthday. Aha, you see? Elephants never forget. Well, happy birthday for tomorrow, Richard. I hope you get everything you deserve, which is probably peace and quiet, a little room on your own. In fact, get into your cupboard, shut the door behind you, nice glass of whiskey or a gin or something, and just shut the world out. Sounds like the perfect birthday to me. Right, well, seeing as you're here, Richard, and we've had a few more join in the meantime, we'll make a start. Now, any of you that caught my short live this afternoon while I was just testing things out, making sure that the video was okay and the audio was okay, will know that I made a confession. And my confession was, when we all got the message from Bambu Lab about the A1 and we were told not to use it, I stopped using it while I replaced the cables on the heat bed. So what I did was, I did one myself. So this is what I did. You can't really see that, but I put some silicone cabling on from the base to the heat bed, rewired it all, and I continued to use it. I didn't put this out there for everybody else because I didn't want anybody to say, oh, we followed what you did and we've had problems or issues. It was merely done just for me so I could continue to print with it because it is such a fantastic printer. So that's what I did. I replaced the main heatbed cables with some I think it was 12 gauge maybe, I can't remember off the top of my head, but it was, checked it out, made sure it was more than up to the job. It's silicone sleeved, so it was more flexible. I just had a piece of wrap left and I've just cable tied it on, nothing clever, but it's continued to work from that day to this without any issues at all. Now, I haven't done any of the firmware upgrades that have been offered since I did that, so I haven't got the one that warns you about still using it or anything like that. So when I switch this machine on, when we've replaced the heat bed, I am sure we're going to find that there's maybe a couple of firmware updates I need to do, but we'll go through that as well. But I didn't want to do any updates while I was still using it with my homemade cable because I didn't want any earache from Bambu Lab. I know what I'm doing. I'm quite competent at doing that kind of thing. All the cables and the connectors were all crimped. But yeah, I didn't want to be without my A1. So I did a cable update myself and carried on using it. I didn't want to use it. Well, I couldn't use the cable that came with it, as you will remember from the video. If you haven't seen the video, go back and look. You'll see when I actually cut the cable up and diagnosed the issue back all those months ago. And I came up with what the problem was. And yeah, I didn't want to be stuck in that situation. So basically, I took it upon myself to rewire it so I could carry on using it. But I didn't want to put it out there because I didn't want people copying what I'd done. So, as you can see, the new heat bed has turned up. With that new heat bed, you'll also get this bump stop, which looks like this, which is to stick on the back of the printer, which stops you from pushing it hard up against a wall. So that in theory should protect the cable. It's going about there somewhere. You can't really, oh, you can see. So the idea is it sticks about there. If you look on the small camera, in fact, we'll transfer to the, just let me transfer to the other camera. We'll go the close up. So we'll do that. So you can see the bump stop is supposed to sit there, stuck on. It might be that way up. I don't know. We'll have a look. We shall investigate. But yeah, that's to go there. So you can't push it hard up against a wall and cause issues. That's the theory behind it. So yeah, not the AMS as they're out of stock. Oh no. Well, that's not very good, is it, Richard? It's your birthday. Have you told him it's your birthday? Anyway, so yeah, we've got the little bump stop. And then the only other thing there is there is a little baggie which has got 4 screws in it that have got lock nut already applied, 4 of the little grommet-y inserts to sit into the bed, and a little bit of sticky tape which is to hold the cable into place. So I believe. So, good evening, Red Light. Well, it's not good evening for you, is it? It's good day for you. It's good evening for us. Nice to see you. Thanks for coming along. So I am going to work from the, if I can find it now, I'm going to work from the heatbed replacement guide on the Bambu wiki, which I've got on my tablet here. So I will just refer to that and we will go through it and we will sort it out between us. I will be taking the photographs that I need to take on here as we go along. So that way I can then get my $120 or whatever it is in pounds, 121 pounds I think it is. I don't know what it is. Anyway, I shall get my my credits to use on the Bambu store. I'm not going to buy a mini. I know many people are doing. I believe there was some sort of special deal on the mini sort of recently, and then with the £120 off or whatever, it bought it down nice and cheap. I don't need a mini. I've got this. I've got the X1 carbon. I don't need a mini as well. I will either spend it on filament or beds, or I might even go down the route of getting some of the small project things that you print the bits for, like the mouse and the stuff like that, because I could quite like to do the mouse and some of the other ones as well. So I might look at getting those. Depends what's in stock, because of course the problem is, as I'm sure you're all very aware, the issue is because everybody's getting these £120 or $120 or €120 gift certificates, they're all going to be rushing onto the site to spend them within the 3 months. So stuff's going to go out of stock fairly sharp, and I've probably missed the boat because I've had the heat bed 3 days or 2 days and not fitted it and got the stuff. So I'm probably going to be in the boat of I'll go onto the shop and there'll be nothing left. But we'll make it work. I mean, I'm sure they've thought about that, and I'm sure they've increased the stock level to such a point that, you know, there should be some stuff available. So yeah, so here we are with the wiki. We've got to everything in place. They tell you to push the gantry up just by hand like that, and they tell you to pull the bed back like this, and then they tell you to balance it on here and here and there maybe. They use, on the instructions, they use a filament box. I'm going to use the box that the bed came in, because why not? That's why it's here. So all we're going to do is we're going to tilt it up, and we're going to make sure, there we go. So it's that point, and this point. I'm going to make sure that I don't lean this part on the box, because that's flexible and that could quite easily drop off. So I'm sticking with using, as you can see, that hard edge there that holds it in place. That's good. We're not going to have any issues with that. So as we work our way through this wonderful wiki, we're not going to use the video guide. We go past that bit. So after it's told us to lift it up, it tells us to remove the 4 screws from the bed. So we'll lay it back like that. So we've got the 4 screws to remove, which are, just tilt it up to show you, those 4 grommets, 1, 2, 3, 4, and the 4 screws that are underneath it, using the Allen key that you actually got with the printer. So that is what we will do. We will move these grommets like so. And then somewhere in here there are 4 Allen key bolts. Like I say, because I've replaced the cable once myself already, I pretty much know what I'm doing, but we're going to do it by the guide, because that's how other people will have done it. Those that haven't continued to use their machines and have had it gathering dust. Can't remember exactly when they told us to stop using it. The exact date escapes me. But I, along with most people, realised that when they said they will be shipping March the new beds, it wasn't going to happen, was it? Everybody was fairly certain of that. So nobody was surprised when it took a bit longer to get things sorted out. So those 4 screws are out. That removes the bed. That's an easy part. Now, of course, I'm keeping the bed and I'm keeping the cabling I've got with it. So if, God forbid, anything should happen to my bed, I have got a spare. So, place the bed to one side. Yes, we've done that. Now we're placing the printer on the side, on the 3 points as directed. So that's just a simple matter, like I say, of leaning it like that, making sure that this part here is not touching the cardboard box, because like I say, that will flex, that will break. Now let's move the close-up camera to a point at which we can see the cable work, and we will just swap over to that momentarily. So we're removing these plugs now, and then we remove the screw, and then we'll slide this plastic plate back, which will take the what I would think is a USB-C cable, but I could be wrong. But that's what we're doing. We're doing the Z motor, the X motor, the camera, and then the screw that removes the USB-C cable out of there. So it is just a matter of gently pulling on those. And this is the thing with Bambu, everything's nicely color coded, nice and easy to see. And we've just got that one screw in there, which we unscrew like that, and then we pull backwards, so there, and we pull back this direction to unplug the plug that's there. So that's simple and like that. And then we're at this stage now, so refer back to the manual, tell me what it tells me to do. Yes, pulled that out, and now it would like me to remove the 6 screws holding the bottom cover in place. So these will be the 6 screws, which are 1, 2, 3, 4, and then there's 2 more at the bottom here. So we'll remove those. Again, we use the supplied the supplied Allen key. Put those screws there so we know where they are. It's all very exciting, isn't it? Like I say, some people might not have done this before. It might be new to them. And to actually physically see somebody do it from beginning to end, rather than the video that Bambu have put up, which, although is very good and very useful, is a little bit what I would call clinical, let's say. So me doing it, maybe it's more of your standard user doing it rather than your technical expert. Hello Derek, thanks for coming back, mate. I appreciate you being there this afternoon. So that's the 6 screws out, like so. And so you'll be able to gently pry the plastic cover by pulling from the top right section close to screw number 7. So screw number 7 is this one. So pry like so. Simple. So we have that off. That was easy, wasn't it? Now we have to remove all the other screws on this section, of which there are 10. And they are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, somewhere. So we'll get those out, and we'll price that section off as well. It's all very exciting, isn't it? So I do find it interesting that they're making us do it at this funny angle. There we go. Now I am pointing out at this point that all the screws that hold these 2 bottom plates on, both this one and the one we've just taken off, are actually all the same size, I believe. So what I'm basically saying is you don't have to worry about putting them back in the wrong place. It's another thing that Bambu seem to have thought about when the original design of the printer was the fact that they've tried to use as few different types of fastener as possible, which means if you do have to open it up, you've got less chance of putting the wrong screw in the wrong place. Because I'm sure we've all taken things apart, phones, laptops to replace batteries, that kind of thing, and just about every single screw is different, which causes all sorts of unnecessary aggro if you can't remember which one's which. Because the last thing you want to do is to put too long a screw in the bottom of your laptop and screw straight through your keyboard. Don't ask me how I know. Right, we're just going to tilt this slightly because that screw there is quite difficult to get to while it's laid in the position they suggest. So I'm just laying it up, balancing it with one hand while undoing the screw with another. Because that's why God gave us two hands. So we've got this one down in this bottom corner here. We're working our way around quite nicely. So I know this may seem just a little bit unnecessary to go to this level of detail, but like I say, I just wanted to do something as a layman to show other people out there how straightforward and easy it is to actually do this. So we've done that, so that must be the last screw, unless I've missed one. I've missed one in there, look. There's one hiding away underneath the plastic. My bad. And that won't come out. Come on, there we go. Get all those screws together. So I think that's all of them. I'll just double check this. Yes, there's nothing in there. So that's those 10 screws out. Now, it says you will be able to gently pry the plastic cover by pulling from the top right section close to screw 7. So again, they want us up in this top corner here. And gently pry. Just working our way around. And then we release that piece of plastic. So now we're right into the guts of the machine. Right into the guts. Because we need to get to this cable here. That's very important. So, it says, in the next step, you can start to disconnect the heat bed power cables. Carefully press on the connectors shown in the image below, then gently pull towards you. The connectors are small locking tabs that keep them attached to the board, but pressing on the connectors will release them. So if you're following at home, it would appear to mean that they are asking you to remove these two. Now these two on my machine, are we actually seeing that? We're not. Right, so just bear with me. This is where you see where mine differs from yours. Because yours won't look like this. So those are my two. Because this is my replacement cable that I fitted. So, like I say, yours won't look like that. Yours will look as it is in the description. But mine, because I replaced them with these nice, thick, heavy gauge cables here, this is what mine look like. So all we do, these don't have the locking tabs on either. They just pull out. Nice and easy. Like that. He says, I did make sure they were well crimped on. It's got to be said. So, you've got those. It says now you can remove the 4-pin signal cable. Simply grab it from the sides of the connector and pull towards you. So that's this one here. You sure we can see that on the screen? Yeah. And we pull that one. They say grab it by the sides. Put it towards you like that. And then that's that removed. That's got a little bit of securing tape around it, as you can see there. Just shut that too while we're here. So we've done that stage. It says the final piece of the cable is the yellow ground wire towards the back of the printer. Simply unscrew the terminal to release it. So they are looking here, I believe. Is that the right one? I can never remember. Yep, that's the right one. So it's this one here. Let me just bring the screen around to show you. Bring the camera around to show you. So it is this one here. Okay. I can tell that because if I pull it, it goes back to the cable. So it's this one here. So we just remove that. Now, this is a different screw, I believe. And it's got a locking washer and a washer on it. So make sure you keep those somewhere where you can get hold of them. So it says now completely remove the heat bed from the printer. The heat bed cable connectors are now loose. We can remove the old heat bed from the printer. Simply raise the back side of the cable towards and then pull from the back of the wire. This will allow you to remove the heat bed wire completely and start the installation of the new installation process. So they have, again, slightly different to me. You'll have the black plastic support that sits here, and it's got sort of two fins on it. So you sort of push those together and pull, and that will pull the cable out. As you can see with mine, mine's clipped in place with a cable tie, because that's what I did, because I didn't have the original molding. So all I will do is I will snip the cable tie, if I can get into it, like so, and remove the cable tie, and then I should, in theory, if everything is right in the world, just pull those two through. I'll pull them through one at a time. As you can see, the gauge of my cables, some people might think is overkill, but I wanted the job to be right. And then we'll just bring that through, making sure it doesn't get stuck on the way like that. There we go, so that's that through. So if we look now, I've got one more cable tie just here, which you actually can't see. Let me just see if I can lift it up. I've got another little cable tie there that I put on just as a second part of strain relief. So we'll clip through that, which we'll do ever so carefully, like so. And then we will just carefully pull all that cabling back through, making sure I take out, there we go, that. So that is the old heat bed removed. Like I say, you can see from that my cabling, there was no way that was going to burn out. If you compare that to what we can see on the new bed, yeah, it certainly was belt and braces, because if you look at the cabling on the new bed in comparison to mine, so these are the cables on the new bed. Just let me swap back over to this view. So those two black wires are the wires that go to those two terminals. Earth wire is still quite nice and thick, and then that's your 5-wire unplug. But if you look at the thickness of the diameter of that, I'll put it next to mine. Can you see a bit of a difference? I was seriously making sure that my cable was right. In fact, I still think I prefer mine. It's got to be said. So we'll put that bed out of the way. We will keep it for future reference. And now, basically, all we have to do is reverse the process, including taking a few photographs, just to make sure that I get my money. It's important I get my money. So, let's have a little look here. So they're saying, put the printer back on its feet again to attach the bed back to the sliders, making sure that we don't trap this in the process. So what they want us to do is to hold this to one side like that and then carefully place that there. So that little lot that's there, sorry for the shaky camera, this little lot that's here isn't getting trapped while we put the new bed on. Now it doesn't say to remove this piece of sticky tape, but I think it goes without saying remove that piece of sticky tape, otherwise fitting the cable could be very difficult. So we should put that there, and then we've got another piece as well, so we've got another piece there. So we'll remove both of those, even though it doesn't tell me to do so. So, new cable, new bed. Make sure that the writing is facing the front of the bed. Lay the bed on. And we've got to line up the threaded part of the base, because there is, let me bring the camera in again. So you've got holes that are threaded and holes that aren't. So you make sure that you line it up with the threaded ones, because otherwise your screws won't stay in. And that would be silly, wouldn't it? So, is everybody still here? Oh, hello Martin. Sorry I didn't see you come in there, mate. Nice to have you along for the ride. So, we are going to carefully line that bed up. Now there's a wee bit of wiggle room here which comes in useful. Never tighten your screws down fully on one. Do them all loosely. Wobble it a bit. Make sure you try and get it as level as possible before you tighten those screws fully. You have your little bag which has your replacement screws in. So it says proceed with installing the 4 screws on the heat bed as shown in the image below. When done, you can also install the 4 silicone covers removed before, or you can use the 4 new ones that they give you with the replacement bed. So 4 of these. Now, of course, the only issue with this is this isn't magnetic, or these aren't magnetic, and you've got the problem that when you do that, if you're not very careful, they fall off, which becomes a bit of a nightmare. I'm just wondering, see, that's not magnetic either. So you've got to be incredibly careful when refitting, because otherwise you'll be forever picking up your screws. So I do hold the screw against the Allen key with my finger, line it up, and then even if it falls in, then it's going to fall into the right place. And that's how I do it. Some people I know put a little bit of blue tack on the end of the Allen key, or a little bit of paper which holds it in place, but I find if you just hold it with your finger like that, line it up roughly where you want to be, as you let go it drops in, and that one's turned itself upside down. So there you go. What do I know? And now it's in the wrong hole. You see, they don't tell you this, do they? So I'm trying to be clever and angle the Allen key to bring it out, but it might just be easier to run away and hide. What you can do, and what I haven't done, but what you can do is, if you do have a magnet to hand, if you were to put your magnet on this part of your Allen key, that will then make your Allen key magnetic, which then means that these screws would stick to it. Unfortunately, I am now in the... Right, I've managed to flick it over so it's now in the right hole. So that now, finger tight, no more. If you have any tips of your own for doing this, please share them with the group. See, that one went straight in. Just going to... So a whole 4 people are still awake. Well done, 4 of you, for staying with me. I mean, I'm sure this will blow up massively once it's been out there a while, and I'll have a million views, but at the moment there's just you long-suffering 4 or 5 people who always turn up, bless your cotton socks. So last one. That too has gone in the wrong hole. Ooh, matron. So we'll do the same thing again. Gave it a little flick. It's now dropped into the right hole. So just finger tight. As you can see by the way that's got plenty of wobble on it, that's sitting fairly well, so we'll tighten those down. And I like to do opposites. Yes, I've taken an awful lot of wheels off cars and put them back on again. And anybody that's done that knows you're supposed to do opposites. So we'll go to this one. That way you can be fairly certain that your bed's being tightened down level. So it's no to go completely mad. So just like that, that's in the... I mean, that Allen key is twisting now, so I would say they're tight enough. And put your little rubber grommets in. Boom. Anybody that wasn't here at the beginning of the done it again. At the beginning of the stream, I promise you I only had 2 pints in the pub. Richard, it is his birthday tomorrow. He's got to the ripe old age of 31. You can pay me later. So if you'd all like to wish Richard a happy birthday for tomorrow, I'm sure I'd be very pleased. So those 4 rubber grommets are in, like so. So what does it say next? So those are in. Place the filament box, or the box you got your replacement bed in, on the side of the machine, angle the printer as shown. So back to how we had it before. So we're laying it down. Like so. Now, it said start by carefully arranging the heatbed cable to avoid any twist or bend, and then gently push the wires through the back of the machine. So what they're saying is basically, you're not idiots. You make sure that the cable naturally sits like that. What you don't want is it like that with a twist in it. You want it to just sit and feel as naturally as possible. Okay, it's actually sitting in top to bottom like that. So you just need to get a feel for the cable, feel how it, see, I can feel that naturally rolls like that. So I know that when that bed moves forward and backwards, that's a natural curvature for the cable. Like I say, you just don't want it tied in knots or twisted round, so it wants to be under no pressure whatsoever while you're fitting it. Okay, so you just got to make sure that it's where it sits naturally. You see, that's just its natural place to sit. And then all we do just see what it says about. So we feed the cables through the back first. So bum bum and bum. So we have the cables through like so. Get them to there. Make sure that you've got no resistance on the cable. So it says continue to route the wires labelled 1, 2 and 3 towards the AC board of the printer by carefully pushing them through the hole shown in the image below. The yellow wire should remain outside as we will be connecting that afterwards. Now by outside they mean this yellow wire wants to go on here, but these we want to push through the hole that's down here. That will be this hole here, to go through to come out the other side there. So that's the 2 with the spade connectors and the 4-pin connector. So we've got to carefully push those through there. Now this apparently is really simple. Cue Matthew spending 25 minutes trying to do it. Right, so we've pushed them through and we've got one cable that's come out the other side. 1 out of 3. So when they say this is a simple task, it's really not that simple. Now we can see that's the second plug through. Let's see if we can get it with the Allen key. And we'll just flick it out like that. So we're still one wire missing. So what I'm going to do is continue to push the sheath cable even through like so. Now can we see the third wire? No, we can't. So goodness knows where that's disappeared off to. So we'll bring this cable back. And then we will attempt. See, this would probably have happened first time if it wasn't on camera. Because we're trying to do it on camera, it's being difficult. Right, now we can just see, or I can just see, it's sitting up here. If I flick that with my Allen key, we can hook it. There we go, we've got it. So that's the 3 cables through to where they want to be. Is anybody still here? So we've got those in. So it says now you can reconnect them on the AC board. The black wires will connect to ports 1 and 2, while the signal cable will be connected to the port labelled with the NR3, meaning number 3. You can't really get this wrong. So this that's got 4 pins goes into this that's got 4 pins, like that. Push it home, feel for a click. And then this black spade connector goes onto that one. It doesn't matter. Clearly the continuity of which way around they are doesn't matter. And then that one onto there like that. Make sure that they're on tight. Make sure that that's on tight. So this is good. It says confirm the signal cable is fully inserted before routing the cables. So you're just saying make sure that that's pushed all the way home. Like that. Which it is. Next it says, don't forget to route the 4-pin signal cable of the heat bed around the plastic pillar, then secure it in place with tape, which is the little bit of tape they have supplied. So it says this is an important step, as the signal wire can be damaged when installing the bottom cover if this step is missed. Please also take a picture of the wires after installation, as this is required to be shared with our customer support team in your ticket that you have opened when you originally asked to have a replacement bed. So again, I don't know whether you can see what it means, but it basically needs to go round that screw that's there, okay, and then get taped into that corner. Like I say, if you are following at home and you have got the PDF up, you will see what it means. I mean, if you've got a hot glue gun, you could go to the level of gluing it in place with your hot glue gun. I've got one, but it hasn't told me to do that, so I'm not going to do that. What I am going to do to make my life easier, I'm going to hang this part of the printer off the front of the table. So that means I've got better access to get under there to fit the cable correctly. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to drop that over the front of the table like that. Okay, which then means if we come down here and look, again, you can't really see because I can't get the angle. Let me release you from the tripod for a moment. Sorry if you're getting seasick, I must apologize. So what we're aiming for is this cable here, okay, needs to go up and around that screw. So those 4 wires come round here, go round there, and then down there, and then you tape them across here, which then holds them in place. So they're going to go up around that and be taped down. So I will do that while you talk amongst yourselves. Oh, and I throw you on the floor, which is giving you all a massive headache. And then when I've done that, we will shoot back and we will have a look. And don't forget to take your photograph as well at that point. So, piece of sticky tape as supplied. Is that PayPal donations to you, Richard, or to me? Just thought I'd check there. Just saying. Let's get you back on. There we go. Because like I say, you're really not going to see this bit. I'm going to spend more time fumbling getting the backing off this piece of sticky tape than anything else. Because being a man that works with his hands, I have no nails. Oh, might have got it. Come on, fingers. You know you want to. Or you could say, the reason why I've got no fingernails is that I'm a Manchester United supporter. And some of you will have an absolute clue what I'm talking about. And FA Cup semi-finals, and how I feel incredibly lucky that we've got through to the final, but we're not going to dwell on that. I'm really struggling with this. Can you tell? Talk amongst yourselves, fill for time. Play some music in the background. Ah, right. So, I've got that like that. So I'm going to stick that there. So when I get my cable round, it's going to be easy to put it on. So I'm just going to go down here now. And you're just going to see my bumps bobbling about while I fit these cables. And I'm going to do it with the Allen key and just feed it over the top of the screw and then stick it in place. So although you can't see me, believe me when I say this is what I'm doing. Now again, this is a wee bit fiddly. It has to be said. especially when you're at this angle. And then you get your bit of tape. Stay there. Now again, I am going to use the Allen key to place the tape. Right, so that's now taped down. I don't know whether that shows up on the camera or not, whether you can actually see that. But I've taped it both this side, it goes around, and I've taped it the other side as well. So it's well and truly taped in place. I will now take a photograph of that. Hey Sass, thanks for coming back. So I'm going to take a photograph of that, as I need that for my my card. So line that up like that to get a nice and then that's what I'm sending them, which shows the cable going around the screw and it taped both sides, so that holds that in place nicely. Okay, so next step, now we can attach the yellow ground cable to the printer as shown in the image below. Ensure that the metallic section of the wire touches the metallic side of the printer and the screw is securely tightened. Please also take a picture of the wire after installation, as this is required to be shared to our customer support team on your open ticket. So we need that little one there that we took out, that's got the spring washer on it and the washer on it, and that needs to go onto this cable here, like so, and then Allen key, we line it up with that. Just transfer you over so you can see. So we've got that all sat in there. Make sure you don't cross thread it, because it's quite easy to do with this. And what they're asking you to show them with your photograph is that when you've got it screwed down tight, like so, that runs in line with the hole as that one does, you see. Oh, you can't see that one. You see how that one runs down like that, so you make sure that one runs down the same. We tighten that up, we get the camera, we take a photograph, like so. Now at no point so far has it told me to push the fitting of the cable in. It's asking me now to put this case back on. So that's what we'll do. So we are now refitting this large piece of plastic here with the 10 screws, was it, that came out, which are all lid on the floor down here. So we'll go back to the wide shot again so you can see the top of my head to see that I'm not balding yet. And we'll replace this piece of plastic. Now I'll just quickly point out why they wanted to see a photograph of that piece of tape round that post. It's the fact that this piece here is what sits up against that post. So if you haven't got the cable wrapped around the post like that, when you shut this part here could nip one of those 4 cables as you tighten it up. So that's why they asked to see that photograph. So when you do put it back on, there is no chance of it trapping that cable. So that just clips back into place like that. And then we'll put these 10 screws back in. And we will start with this one. And we'll just work our way around. So if you're not watching live, you can fast forward the video. If you are watching live, you're just going to have to put up with it. I'll be honest with you, I have found that hanging the printer over the edge of the table is actually better than propping it up on the box. It does give you a lot more accessibility to the screws and everything else doing it this way rather than having it on a box. So if you are in a position that you've got a desk or a table or something that you can do it on, it is far and away easier. I mean, if you want to do it by the book, you know, by all means do it by the book. But I am certainly finding that doing it this way with just those, see, getting down to this one is much easier. I mean, it's still a bit tricky, but it's much easier doing it like this than when the printer is at more of an angle. But like I say, if you want to do it by the book, you do it by the book. You see, another thing I actually quite like about this is that this little Allen key, it's weird because it's almost like it talks itself, if you know what I mean, because it's got that amount of twist in it. When you're tightening things up, you know when you've got some time, because the Allen key twists rather than you stripping the threads off. And I'm sure they haven't done that purposely, but it does make you realise, you know, when that starts to twist like that, you know that screw's tight enough. So that's all those back in. So what does it ask for next after you've got those 10 in? It says, now arrange the heat bed wire, then install the front bottom cover. So carefully turn from the printer side of the heat bed cable. Carefully turn from the printer side of the heat bed cable and turn it so the cable aligns with the middle of the printer, as shown in the image below. This step is important to avoid any unnecessary strain on the cable. So basically they're saying just make sure that you ain't got a twist in it. It's not the best language to use, but basically what they're saying is bring the heat bed all the way back like that. Make sure that there's no big twists in the cable. So make sure that your cable doesn't twist up like this. Make sure it's like that. So they have it that the cable comes out of the bed smoothly round and into the back of the printer. And that's what you want. And then I guess you just you see, you can have it like that, or you can have it like that. That's too much of a knot for my liking, so we'll put it in like that, push it through. And is that it? Is that all they want you to do? So it's got plenty of play on it. It seems to be as simple as that. Is it really that easy? Doesn't seem to want to sit any further. So maybe that's as slack as they want it to be. Which is fine. It says carefully turn the printer side. So yeah, I can't see that. That's in there. It's got plenty of slack on it. It's nowhere near as tight as the original fitting was. When that original fitting was in, it was in solid. Now with this, there is an awful lot more play, an awful lot more flexibility. Even to the point of which, although I don't know if you can see it, but actually in the housing, there's wiggle room. So they really are doing belt and braces to make sure that, you know, it's not going to be a problem. What we'll do at this point is, I can't really do it. Well, I can. We will sit the printer back like this, and we will just run the bed all the way forward. We'll see how the cable sits where it's happy. See, that's happy like that. That's not, let's come back a bit. That cable's not under any strain at all at any point. Okay, it's not tying itself in knots. And as you can see, hopefully you can see, there is movement right down here. That's not a tight fitting like the older one was. That's got so much wiggle room in it. Like I say, they are absolutely belt and braces making sure that this cable doesn't fail with that same stress point, which can only be a good thing. So we'll flick it back over onto its side like this, as per instrucciones. And then the next thing we have to do is to refit this plate onto here, which is this one. Check that your cables are all where they should be. You're not going to nip anything. Line it up. Pop it on. Like so. Now that has actually gripped that cable a bit harder now. In fact, until I get that screw in, it's not going to hold its position. Because it is actually... Let me just take that off and show you. Let me just take that off and show you. You see these on here? I'll swap back to this. So these, that there, that sits round the cable. So it's going to sit into there. So it is affording it more support once this bottom cover is on. So make sure everything's lined up. Like so. And then we'll bang these screws back in. It says avoid over tightening the screws as the screws can damage the plastic threads. Well, we know that. Now it does number them from down. Ooh, it does number them from down in this bottom corner. So we'll do what it says. We'll do 1 to 6. But again, like I said before, this is designed in such a way that once you've got tension on it, that twists. That actual Allen key twists. So you'd have to be fairly ham-fisted to over-tighten those, because the minute you feel that Allen key twist like that, You know you're there. So we're nearly there, gentlemen and lady. We are almost at 0 hour. And then we just got to go through. Like I say, I will power this up and it will demand that I upgrade the firmware, because I haven't upgraded the firmware since the data told us to stop using it. Because then they don't know I carried on using it until they watch this video, and then maybe they will know. But if we don't tell them, they won't know. There we go, we're all nicely tightened up. Marvellous. So reconnect the power. So now we're on to putting this lot back, which is simply the reverse of what we did to take it out. So the first thing is push that, line it up, get that plug in first. Like so. Make sure it's sat all the way home. Make sure that this cable is tucked into there so it doesn't get trapped underneath the printer, like that. And then we'll put that screw back in. And then the 3 cables back in. You can't get green to green, yellow to yellow, white to white, green to green, yellow to yellow, white to white. Make sure they're sat nicely down like that. If you've got a bit of your sticky tape left over from inside, you can always just use that. Got a bit folded over on there, so we'll cut that off like so. And then I'll just use that tape, although it doesn't say to on the instructions. Why not? We've got it, we might as well use it. So that keeps that tape up inside the base so it doesn't get trapped. Don't forget to tap the screw holding the bum. And then it's the silicone bump stop. So the silicone bump stop, they want it there, like that. So like I say, you push it up against a wall, you're not twisting that cable beyond that point. It's just, again, a bit of an extra safety thing. So that's that done. And it says, this step completes the do-it-yourself portion of the heat bed replacement process. But please kindly note that there is a test required to be conducted by an electrically skilled person in terms of the European Union standard EN 50678. Or any applicable local equivalent standard, unless you are qualified as such an electrically skilled person. Now this is Europe only. Now the thing is, it does say before connecting the A1 with a power source and switching it on again, the A1 must be checked by an electrically skilled person within the meaning of the European Harmonized Standard EN 5. So I'm not sure. I haven't downloaded the tests that they tell you to do. or the checks that they want them to perform. But I would imagine that they are actually going to want to make sure that the cables are seated correctly and that you've got everything in place and nothing's trapped. I'm not sure you can do that once you've put the printer back together. Now, unless they're expecting the qualified electrical engineer to look at the photographs that you've taken and take those as read, or whether they just want to do a simple, straightforward continuity test and earth leakage test and that kind of thing from the machine when it's rebuilt, I don't know, because I haven't downloaded that PDF because I'm in the UK and I don't need to do that. But I do find it strange that they want you to take it to somebody to check that you've put it back together properly, and yet you've covered everything up. So maybe they tell you to, you know, to show them it before you put the covers back on. Like I say, I've not downloaded that PDF. I don't know. So who knows? So now we have to verify the installation. You can operate the screen and set the heat bed temperature to 40 degrees. If the temperature rises and reaches 40 degrees and remains stable, the installation is confirmed to be successful. Okay, so this is going to be interesting doing backwards and upside down. I have a power supply. I put power supply in. We flick the switch. Now we don't want any magic smoke or sparky pixies or anything like that. We just want it to power up and work. So power on. You'll be able to see quicker than me if it works. Also, I've got it plugged in down here. Okay, I can see a light on the front of the machine and I can see that. So that's good. Now then, is it going to start screaming for an update? It hasn't yet. So it says heat bed to 40 degrees. So control bed. Okay. So we'll now see if the bed heats up. There's always an issue with doing this kind of thing live in case I've got it all wrong. Oh look, new firmware. Do we do the new firmware first? I think we should. So you might need to talk amongst yourselves. Don't know how long this is going to take, but let's do it properly. Oh, it's not going to take long, look, it's flying through it. What have we got in the chat? I'm not getting involved with that conversation. Some would say we're electrically skilled, some would say we definitely aren't. Right, just gonna see if I can actually catch up with chat. Because I need all messages, because it's filtered all the funny ones out. Well, I've always said that the reason why I keep my hair long is because if I do have any problems with electrocuting myself, I'll know it's happened because my hair will stand on it. So it's some sort of, you know, I won't say early warning system because it's a bit late by the time my hair's stood on end. So we're up to 82%, so it won't be long. We'll get it fired up, we'll get it up to temp. And then we're about there. It's kind of done. I'm not sure what the third picture is that I need to send to Bambu Labs. I need to check. I think it's possibly my serial number for the printer. So I will check that. I will find out what the third picture is. I will take it. I will submit all 3 pictures on my ticket to Bambu Labs. And hopefully, next couple of days, I'll let you know on Twitter, X, whatever you wish to call it, whether my attempt at repairing it has been agreed and that they're happy. Tell you what, that's warm, that bed. That could be 40 degrees. Yes, I will then find out whether I get my 120 euro, dollar, pounds of credit for being a good boy and waiting so long for them to solve the issue. And then everything's good. I'll make a massive great order and yeah, get it all in. So where are we now? We're at 91%. You see, it started off really quickly and then now it slowed itself up. Slowed itself up. I don't even know how long I've been on here now. An hour and 15 minutes. I'm sure it's not supposed to take that long. But you know, we do things slowly because we do things properly. 96%, plus the fact I'm upgrading the firmware. I'm really pleased to have this back and working as it should be and be able to admit to people that I am printing with it still. But like I say, I do think my own cable, as you say, you can see the gauge of those wires compared to the gauge of the wires that are on the replacement bed. They weren't going to burn out now, were they? And look how flexible they are. You know, this is belt and braces. This definitely keeping this bed. Definitely. It's going to probably put it back in this box and keep it somewhere really safe because, like I say, it's somewhat beyond what they've done. So that's updated successfully. So that's good. So we can come out of all that. And up comes the warning. Your A1 is affected by a recall. Please discontinue use and scan the QR code to proceed. So we'll say later because I don't even know what I'm supposed to do. I think it just takes you to the what's it. So bed, 40 degrees. Okay, it's already at 36. So it was definitely heating up. So if that clicks itself up to 40 now, which it is doing, up to 37, 38. Do you know, for a men's bed, it takes an awful long time to heat up. 39. And 40. There we go, 40 degrees. And holding at 40 degrees, we can call that a successful replacement of the heat bed. So, like I say, next stage, get my photographs, bang them on the website, onto my link, get my money. So that's about it, guys. We're pretty much there. Bed replaced, everything done according to their specifications. Job's a good one. Don't think they did mention something about maybe a bit of calibration. After replacing the heat bed, we strongly recommend performing a manual heat bed tramming or bed leveling to ensure a flat surface. You can download the G-code, A1 bed tramming G-code, to your SD card and then refer to the video below for details. You can do that if you want, or you can just do a bed level because it'll do exactly the same thing. Again, it's belt and braces on their part. We could do it, but I would need to dive over there and sort all that out. It'll be fine. As my dear sister says, it'll be fine. I'm more than happy with that. I don't think I'm going to download the special G-code. I think I shall just bed level it. Just put it through its full set of calibration. Let it go through the whole thing that you can set up on here and just do it that way. And I'm sure it'll be absolutely spot on. But like I say, they're doing belt and braces. They're covering their own backsides. Totally get it. So that's it. Job done. So hopefully that is the end of the debacle that was the badly put together heatbed cable. Well, strain relief. I mean, it was, as we found, it was all down to the welded plastic plug on the back. Was obviously, it heated it to such temperature to weld that socket on that it actually melted the cables inside, and that was the issue. As I say, when we stripped down, we saw what it was. But I can certainly see that what they've done here has got a lot more flexibility on it. There is little or no chance of having that same issue again. If you look at the back of this, look, it's got so much flex on there now. The way that sort of wobbles about in there, there's no way you're going to have that same issue. I think they've done what they needed to do. It's taken them an awful long time to come up with a plan, I've got to say. I mean, we pretty much thought of that ourselves with what we've done over here. But by the by, job done. Holding temperature at 40 degrees. That's the end of it. Thank you so much, everybody. All 5 of you, or however many it is of you now, probably about 2. Yeah, just still the 5. Thank you so much for joining me. Do appreciate it. Hopefully, if you're watching this later and not live, this has been some help to you. If you ordered the replacement bed and then suddenly panicked and couldn't understand the wiki, hopefully this simple, straightforward do it with me will help you out. If it has helped you out, leave a like, leave a comment. If you're not subscribed, subscribe. It all helps me, motivates me to do more videos, because sometimes you don't get motivated, but people leaving comments, leaving thumbs up, subscribing to the channel does push us forward to do it more often. Next thing for me to do now is to finish off the Death Racer, which we have here. This is where we're at with it at the moment. Had it running. It's an absolute beast of a machine. I've gone for the Pro version, so it's got a different gearbox, the 2 540 motors. It is a beast of a thing. It really is. It chews up the carpet no end. I'm at this stage with it, so it's running as it is. So I've just got to build the rest of it up. Tested all the remote control, everything works fine and dandy. I've got to December to get it where I want it to be finish wise. I might change 1 or 2 things on it, restyle the man, I don't know, maybe not, who knows. Maybe you would like me to advertise your YouTube channel on the cover plates that go on the side here. Be one on this side and one on this side. You could even have it written upside down in case I turn it over. That, of course, will cost you a small fortune. Failing that, I'll just put something rude on the side of it. Anyway, stop waffling. Thank you so much for watching. Keep your eye open. There will be more stuff coming up now that I can legally say I'm using this machine still. And I'll speak to you